I don't know what I'm saying. Cut. Do it again. Sorry. And there's a huge Mac truck. Hi, I'm Lindsay Joyce.
And I'm Tomek Gil.
And we're the husband-wife team of 3 Up Living, an architecture and interior design firm here in the city. We help our clients from the initial design to move-in day, but this time we're taking you along our journey to renovate our home. And on today's episode, we're talking about plumbing fixtures.
All right, Lindsay, as our in-house plumbing fixture expert, I have a bunch of questions for you. There's a million brands out there, and a lot of them have a similar look and feel to them. But I'm wondering if all of your fixtures in the bathroom should be the same brand when selecting, let's say, the entire fit out.
So that's an interesting question. I lean in to say yes, typically, but that's not always the case. So I would say your shower body, and typically your plumbing fixture, meaning your faucet outside the shower, should typically be the same brand. And my reason for that is not because of the actual label, but because of the finish. So if you're using, for example, Brizio has a Lux nickel. That Lux nickel is different than any other nickel that's on the market. So trying to find one that's compatible is going to be very difficult, right? So I tend to lean into doing the same shower body as the same faucet. However, if you're using a black mat or, a chrome, which we tend not to use chrome so much, but, we do it case by case. I think black fixtures, you have the ability to kind of mix and match. So if there's a really cool, like, wall mount faucet that you're looking at, but you don't really like the rest of the collection in the line, or a deck mount faucet, I think that's where you can really change it up between what you have going on outside the shower to what you have going on inside the shower. Now, within the shower, you should always stick within the same shower body, because there is rough-in that goes behind the tile that actually corresponds with those fixtures and only works with those fixtures. You can't have, a Kohler rough-in with a Brizio fixture. They're not compatible. So you really have to keep within the shower the same line, but outside the shower, you have the ability to change it up depending on the finish that you're going with.
Got it. So the takeaway is metallic finishes are more difficult to match between brands. But if you're talking about something like a matte black,
like a matte black or a chrome,
that's more forgiving.
Yeah, chrome is pretty much chrome is chrome.
Right.
Where black matte is black matte. But you get like the Lux nickel, you get the like bronze, the champagne bronze, the golden bronze, the Lux, and those are all different tones of like antique gold, whether it's polished gold or satin gold tones. So that always is very varying. Gold is the hardest, actually, to match, because it can be yellow, it can be orange, it can lean into one of the other 2 colors. That's the hardest one to really integrate different brands. So I'd say stick within that line. So this is the Brizio section. We use Brizio, obviously, a lot with our clients, and we had it in our last apartment. I really like them because they have a very kind of unique style to them, and you can kind of mix and match, which is nice. I also like the fact that their diverters are all in one, and they're not 2 separate ones, which you see a lot of.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right? So you get like your diverting, you can divert the water up here, you have the temperature control and the on-off here.
And you're cutting just one tile, right?
And you're cutting just one tile. Same thing here. So like this one, it's a little different, where you can set the temperature to be the same temperature every time you turn it on, which is really cool. And then this essentially diverts the water from the overhead to the handheld to the tub spout, if you have a tub spout. I have never used this company, but this is dope.
Okay.
I mean, I like it. So this is...
It's like a machine.
I think it's so cool. It's a diverter.
Wouldn't that be more of like an industrial kind of style?
I do like this. Maybe this could be for Remy's bathroom.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find a
Because it would
project
go with.
that can.
No, but I'm saying that this could go with the terrazzo. No? Why not?
I would love to see a mood board before we
Okay,
get something like that.
But do you like it?
I like it okay. I think
Okay.
it has to fit like a. I think if there was like a black, framed shower glass and maybe
Yeah.
some like metal kind of detailing, this would fit really well. But I think that if we're trying to create some kind of a soft, playful terrazzo, like type setup, I'm not sure if this is an ideal fit. That's why I was kind of thinking maybe something with color or
okay. Like if we were to do this brand, I would do all black. Yeah, I would do this. But do you notice something? Look at their diverters. Separate, which is a look, and we could do that. I'm not like opposed to not doing that. I just want to like point that out, right? Like a lot of these other lines have separate.
It's a little dummy proof, right? Called.
Yeah.
I also like that where it's not like you don't need a manual to how to drive your faucet. Okay, so you touched upon the shower fixtures and how you should really be matching, the diverters to the shower heads, and not mixing and matching in the shower.
In terms of brands.
But are there? Could you maybe expand a little bit on the benefits of certain, types of fixtures? What is the difference between an overhead shower head versus a wall-mounted? And are there differences in the handheld versions of the shower and all of that?
That's a very complex question.
It's a little that's why I need a little bit of an explanation.
All right,
because
right.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So all right, so let's start with what can be in the shower. What fixtures are inside your shower? You always have to have a diverter, so that's a given. The diverter literally diverts the water. It's exactly what it says. It also has the thermostat on it, and sometimes even a pressure control, depending on which one you go with. So you always have a diverter. That's a given. Then you can have a rain shower. So the rain shower is typically either a square or a circle that comes from your ceiling and literally just trickles down like rain. It doesn't have, some of them do have better pressure than others, but a lot of that is dependent on the building. Everybody says, oh, get me a fixture that's going to give me the best water pressure. Well, we can give you one that has the biggest opening, which allows the most water to come through. But really, it depends on your building, whether you have the right pressure or not, which I think is like a common misconception on when you're picking up fixtures. So a rain shower trickles down above. Then a wall mount shower head is essentially coming from the wall, mounting out, and it's more directional. Usually on those, you'll find it where you have two different or even sometimes three different settings on whether you have like, more of a jet, an outer kind of spray, or sometimes more of like a pulsating spray. A lot of times you can get that from a wall mount shower head. In addition to that, you have the handheld. The handheld is exactly what it sounds like. You're holding it in your hand. It has a hose that attaches to the wall, which I suggest this all the time. Even if you've never used one before, you're redoing your bathroom, get it. Because cleaning is easier. You can easily clean your shower with it. If you have kids, if you have a dog, it's just really beneficial, and it's a huge selling point. So, I would be open to sticking within the Brazil line. This is only a very obviously small portion of what they have, but I do think that some of these things are a little interesting. Like, and I know you'll be shocked to hear me say this, but I actually like some of their deck mounts that that maybe in our bathroom we could do a deck mount because we do have a much larger vanity, wherein in like Remy's bathroom, we could be doing a wall mount just because he's only going to space have,
a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So one that I wanted to point out to you, and also before I guess we dive into it, I was thinking that maybe we could do black matte in the primary.
So something like this.
Yeah, because I think it could be really nice because we are going to have black matte in like the hardware that we talked about in the kitchen and other accents throughout the space. And I was thinking that if we did that with the kind of full slabs of the beige that we were looking at doing, could have a nice contrast to it. Just something I would throw out there. If we didn't do that, then maybe we would lean more towards the luxe gold, because it's not super shiny, but it has that kind of dulled antique look to it, which could blend in with it. But I was digging the black
So
matte
which
for the
style
primary.
you like this?
Well, I don't necessarily like that one for our primary.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
Look at that wooden one.
I
Isn't that
know.
wild? I don't know
I
how I feel
actually,
about it.
Tomek, I know this is crazy. I actually really like this.
With the pearl inlay?
I don't know. It's just like you know how you said that you really wanted a little glam moment here and there?
Okay.
I don't know. We'd
Yeah,
have to see how it plays.
glam.
I also think that I believe that you can get this in a different color in there too. But I do think that it's very interesting to me. So I like that.
I guess that goes with our Art Deco lean.
Yeah. And also this is this is a deck mount. I'm trying to see if there's any wall mounts that we can look at. I mean, there's this wall mount. I know this one comes in a wall mount, which is essentially that, but with this little top.
Okay.
We did this recently in a client's apartment, and I thought it was really cool. I just don't like the polished finish with it. I like more of this finish.
I definitely like that.
Yeah.
More. I think it's a little bit more of a modern take on it. I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay with going something along those lines. This is close to what we had previously.
Yeah.
And that was fun and all, but I think this apartment's going to be a little bit more like, stately or like classical.
I also like this one. I think this is a very interesting single deck mount faucet. I don't know. What do you think of it?
Well, personally, I really like stuff like that, especially maybe for a kid's room.
Well, I was thinking for ours because, again, it would be a deck mount and wall mount would be for the other bathroom. So this would be more for the primary, but in black.
Are we thinking double vanity or?
I don't think we're going to have enough room for that. Because remember, we're shrinking that.
Right, and you wanted a little makeup station, so
if we could get one, if not, no big deal.
Okay.
But I'm thinking we have maybe one very cool deck mount with a larger one sink,
which is
and then we'll just kind of offset it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that. The only thing I'm wondering is that when you go to wash your face, when it's so low like this, like an arm, sometimes it's a little awkward to do that.
Well, it depends on how big the basin is, right? Because if you're using a larger basin, then you have the room to do that. And it's not an issue.
Okay. So we'll have to see if this comes in a black matte, maybe for the primary.
Okay.
And see what that would look like.
Okay.
Or if you want to lean into the.
I like that, especially with a beige
tile.
Yeah.
Just keep it super clean.
Yeah.
All monotone.
Let's find out what the finishes are.
Okay.
I want that. I actually kind of like this kind of hammered brass look.
Oof, I like this one too. This one's awesome.
All right, so you started talking about the vanity and the different types of faucets that you can install, particularly deck mount versus the wall mount faucet. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the advantages of the different installations and how to go about choosing the right one for you.
Sure. So deck mount essentially means that the faucet is coming out of your countertop. It will sometimes have the knob for hot and cold on the actual faucet itself, eliminating more fixtures on your countertop, or you'll have a separate hot and cold, which I'm sure everybody's seen that. A wall mount faucet is actually coming out of your wall, and that can also have the hot and cold on the fixture itself, or two separate knobs that are coming out of the wall as well. So we tend to lean into the wall mount faucet more often than not, and I would say that's it's mainly due to space saving, right? So if you're not having a faucet that is on your deck or on your countertop, you can utilize that space for a toothbrush, for soap, for other things. So if your space is very limited, which a lot of times it is in one of the bathrooms in the city, that we're renovating, that we tend to use, the wall mount more often than not for space saving. I would find that recently that the deck mount faucets are a little bit more interesting and designed, and I think we saw that at the showroom, where I haven't been such a fan of the deck mounts because of just the space saving, but the way that they're making them now, they're just so beautiful, and they're more of like a sculpture than a faucet themselves. They're just a really, beautiful feature.
So you like you're starting to lean towards the deck
I'm
mounts
leaning
more.
into a little bit more. I would
Cool.
never do the ones probably that have the two hot and cold on it unless there's enough space.
The mixers, you mean?
Yeah, the mix. Yeah, I don't know if I would do that depending, but I think it really depends on it. I think that several years ago, people didn't really design them to the degree that they're designing them now and thinking about the look of them, but really they can become such a feature moment in your bathroom. Think about it. It's the first thing that you see when you walk in is usually your sink, your vanity, and your faucet. It can kind of set the tone for the design and trend of the bathroom. So, I'm okay with both. I'd say that in past years we've leaned more into the wall mount just for the more modern, minimal look and space saving. But like I said, deck mounts, the way that they're designing them now, are just very efficient and beautiful. So.
Okay, so we talked about fixture finishes a little bit, and how black is kind of consistent across the board, how chrome is very consistent, but then you have different kinds of finishes with different metals, especially brass or more of a gold finish. Can you mix and match them? How how is there a possibility there for a little bit of design and having the fixture different finishes work together in tandem versus competing against each other?
Yeah, I mean, we actually are seeing right now. I believe it's trending on the market in a lot of different brands that do fixtures. You see it where sometimes the knobs are black and the rest of the body is like a satin gold or bronze tone to it. So what's interesting to me is that you could do like a wall mount or a deck mount fixture for your sink outside your shower and use that, which has already integrated the black and the gold together. And then inside your shower, you could use all black. And then your accessories, meaning your robe hooks, your towel bars, and all of that, you could use gold. And it really allows you to like lean in to mixing and matching. But I think that like the starting point for me would be to find that really cool, faucet that already has those two tones mixed together, that would really, kind of dictate the rest of the mixing of the finishes within the space, whether that's the tile or the bathroom accessories or the shower bodies. And I think that's like very interesting. What's trending on the market right now is to have that like mix of metals.
So the two tone is really the starting point.
The starting point.
That allows you to kind of bridge into the different fixtures. That's great. Okay, so there's one more fixture in that bathroom that we didn't talk about, and that's the toilet.
Ooh, okay.
Toilets, seem, you would think, are the straightforward, simple thing that nobody really wants to talk about. But once you really get into the showroom and you start seeing all the different options, you start realizing that there are a lot of options when it comes to toilets, and they could be they could be floor mounted, they could be a back outlet toilet, they could be wall mounted, and then they could have all kinds of a bunch of trinkets on it. There's Japanese toilets, there are toilets from Finland and whatnot. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about how to go about choosing the right one for you.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, a lot of times the toilets are definitely the forgotten fixture. And I think that they were for a long time. It's like you don't want to make it noticeable that there's even a toilet in there. Nobody wants to talk about it. It just is there. And
it's kind of an embarrassing thing people don't like to talk about.
But, I think that where technology has really created these like amazing Japanese toilets, where it self cleans itself after every single use. The fact that you can have a bidet, that you have control of the water temperature. I mean, there's so many things. So a lot of times it just really depends on the person. I mean, the seat warmer is also another feature that people really like, to not sit down and have like a super cold toilet seat. And I also think that color also is nice, that you can play with colors. So like if you have a completely monotone kind of bathroom that's like a sandy tone or a gray tone, isn't it nice that like the white toilet doesn't stick out? You know, you're not visually looking at it. So just the fact that you can change the color of it, and Kohler has some really beautiful colors to choose from in terms of toilets. Toto is really great in terms of like the technology on the market. Kohler as well, but I'd say Toto is like kind of um, really where we kind of lean in more into the options there. But I do think that you know, all of that is so much dependent on a personal experience with the client. I like to educate them and say that, hey, these are the options on the market. You can get a standard floor mount toilet, replace it in kind, but also get a bidet added to it, you know? And people didn't know that, you know, that you could just add that to it by just like a plumbing line.
As a seat.
Yeah.
Got it. As a separate seat attachment. So
Correct.
some of these toilets come with that option where you can actually replace, you know, your standard seat with something that is like heated, like you said.
Yeah.
One thing to consider is that if you do have a heated seat, or if the toilet does have any electronic controls to it, make sure you have the electricity close by, so that
electrical and plumbing
has to be kind of planned ahead for that.
But it is something that we talk about. It's not like the last thing that we talk about in terms of designing the bathrooms, because it really is very integrated into the color, into the style. If we have to do a wall mount toilet, because if we're moving the toilet, it has to be a wall mount. You know, so many things are considered. And so I think just understanding, like, the knowledge is the power in this, of the client understanding the possibilities. And a lot of times they just don't. So I tend to educate. I let them sit on it. I tell them, go here, go here, go here.
Actually check it out.
Check it out.
Don't be afraid to check it out before you purchase. It could be an expensive item.
Yes.
If you go with all the bells and whistles.
Yes, for sure.
So that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.